That was lovely. The pre-concert chats are lovely at Esprit, because part of it is your life partner, Alexina, as a composer herself, brings a perspective to the dialogue and the questioning that is lovely for an audience, because it's that fly on the wall thing that you're overhearing a conversation that they would be having, and it's really fun from that perspective. So
she's good at drawing things out of
drawing things out, and at having questions that the paid announcer like me wouldn't have, right? Because there's a kind of interior
well, she's
dialogue
connected,
to it, so it's
and
lovely.
a colleague, etc. The other thing is we pay a great deal of attention to educational matters.
Right.
The pre-concert talks being, a really great part of that.
Yeah.
The orchestra actually developed its first audiences, aside from advertising to get people into the hall. We had something known as coffee chats in large private homes, and we would invite people to come. Usually it was like 5 days on an evening, 5 days before a concert, and we'd have the guest composers or the soloists or musicians from the orchestra come and explain, well, for the composers, their inspiration and their challenge in writing and what they were expecting to hear if it was a premiere. And the soloists would demonstrate special things that people should listen for. Musicians in the orchestra would give a perspective on what it's like to play 4 or 5 pieces with great intensity and technical and rhythmic and coloristic challenges, the things that are expected in new music that aren't there in traditional music.
Right.
So then we have a program called Creative Sparks, which is a mentoring.
In the schools.
Yeah, it's a
I saw a
mentoring
video
program.
that you did on last year's up at Claude Watson,
Yeah.
Earl Haig. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting piece.
Yeah.
It's nice to look at.
So what we do with Creative Sparks is invite composers to work with student composers and performers over 15-week period, say, and they develop compositions either as individual composers or as a group. And then in the case last year, we blended student performers with Esprit players and created an orchestra that played the student works.
At Korean, it was a great hall, by the way.
And then we also mixed into that program some other works that Esprit would normally play on its own series. And we did, for example, Charles Ives' The Unanswered Question. And it was thrilling because we opened the concert with that, and that just got everybody listening.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that I mean by strategic programming, because one might think, oh, for a group of like 600 high school kids, you have to have big, brash, loud piece to get their attention. No. Charles Ives, very silent strings coming out of the mists and atmosphere. That just set them up perfectly. It was great.
Yeah, no,